Hi guys, welcome back to another video. I'm Dow with Dow Spade Aquatics. Today, we will be talking about all the community fish I've kept over the years and where they sit, like where they belong in this tier list and how they how is their compatibility with my fish. Now, I will be talking about some YouTubers and I will link their YouTube channels in the description because if I don't, and I mention the YouTuber, I will get a strike from YouTube. Yes, it is kind of dumb. But, yeah, so, first, we're going to start off with female betas, or female beta fish. Female beta fish are way more peaceful than the male beta fish. All the female betas I have kept, I have not seen aggression even with each other. So with that, they're going to get a B tier because some of them didn't survive because of the way they're bred. Ooh, silver dollars. Now, I got mixed information. They're really cool, interesting fish. But they're going to get an E tier because they kind of bit some of my smaller moving and slower moving tank mates, including my beta fish. So they are a little bit nippy and they can bite sometimes. So I'm gonna put them in E tier because they're not a good community fish when it comes to especially plants, because if you have a planted aquarium, this is the worst option for your tank. They will mow down all your plants like a lawnmower. These guys are like they're just not good fish. Now, the gold nugget pleco. I love gold nuggets. I think they're beautiful. They're a little bit high maintenance, though. Like, if you were just going to take care of this by yourself and not have anyone help you, this fish would be a little bit difficult to take care of. But if you do take good care of them, they will reward you with their amazing beauty. They get a B tier, along with the female beta. But they're good. Now, the, rope fish. I love rope fish. These guys are amazing. Shout out to Scoobs and Pets because he has given me all the information I need to know about ropefish. They are amazing for community tanks. The thing that you do have to watch out by, which keeps me from putting in the S tier, it's such an amazing and cool looking fish. But the problem is it does consume smaller tank mates. So if you do have a small, like small fish like rasboras, small tetras, neon tetras, cardinal tetras, it will probably end up being consumed. So for that, I'm going to put them in the A tier just because of how cool looking they are. And they also need a larger tank. So that stops it from being the S tier, but it is such a cool fish. I would totally recommend it. Now yo-yo loaches. Trust me, 100% yo-yo loaches are probably the best snail-eating fish for your tank. Because there's two other options. Clown loaches, which get too big for most aquariums. It's sure if you have a big tank, clown loaches would be perfect. But another option are dwarf chain loaches, which are small, they're peaceful, but they are so expensive. Like, especially on Keeping Fish Simple, shout out to him too, he gives some pretty good information. Like, they're $25 each. And, like, you need, like, a group of 6 to, like, 6 or 8 of them, like, for them to feel secure. So that's $25 each. But yo-yo loaches are a way better option than them. They get big, but they don't get as big as the clown loach. I'm gonna give them B tier because actually C tier because of they still need a large tank. And if you have pet snails, like snails in your tank, like that you want in your tank, not pest snails, but like snails that you actually want, they could eat them. Especially if there's smaller ones like horned nerite snails. Ooh, glass catfish. I love glass catfish. I gotta tell you, so there's a lot of misinformation about these guys. They are actually schooling fish. I bet a lot of you guys didn't know this. They need a minimum group size of 4. I would aim more for 5 of these guys. But they are amazing for tanks. I wouldn't say they're nano fish. They need a minimum of a 20-gallon for me. They get an A tier because they're just how amazing they are. Ooh, Buenos Aires tetras. Now let's talk about Buenos Aires tetras. I had 3 of them. They were actually my first fish, along with my headlight, taillight tetras and my red-tailed shark, which we'll talk about. The red-tailed shark was a really bad option. But Buenos Aires tetras, they lived so long. Like, I don't know how they stayed alive so long. It might be the reason why they were eating my plants, but no one told us that they would eat plants. Like, no one, because I went to this fish store, and the dude at the fish store never said anything about them consuming plants. I did not know that until they died. I did research. I started getting into fish again, and I did research about them, and I found out that they eat plants. So D tier, they would have been an E tier or F tier, but since they lived so long and you would get to enjoy them for a long time, I would definitely recommend them if you don't have a planted setup. And people say they're semi-aggressive, but they're not really, actually. Like, I didn't see any aggression. They were just super fast-moving, and they did stress out some of the fish. Now, African dwarf frogs. I gotta say, the Nerdy Fish Girl, if you're watching this, that's one of the YouTubers that I made a debunking video on. She made a video talking about how these frogs need smaller tanks to appeal to people with small tanks or kids with small tanks. They really, all fish, all animals prefer larger tanks. These guys would they could be in a 5-gallon, but they would prefer like more of like a 20 to like 70. Like I have them in a 75-gallon with places for air. They're amazing fish. Sorry, frogs. But they're super hard to feed. You have to wave tweezers in front of their face because they cannot find food themselves. So I'm gonna give them a B tier. Probably like a B plus tier. Like front of the B tier. They're amazing. I would totally recommend them, but you do need to do specific feeding measures. You can't just dump bloodworms in the tank and expect them to find them. You have to feed them correctly, especially if you have something like zebra-danios that can steal the food from them. Now, white skirt tetras. I used to have these guys, but I don't quite remember that much about them. Since I'm just putting them in C tier because I don't know that much about them. I remember they were pretty peaceful, actually, so yeah, they're pretty good fish. Siamese algae eaters. Ooh, I love these guys. The thing is, they're not effective algae eaters. They're not good at their jobs. Like, they're good at their jobs the first, 1 year you get them, and then they're just lazy. C tier, they're amazing fish, but not good for their job. And they get a little bit territorial. Sailfin plecos, I love these guys, but they need such a large tank, but they're a B tier just because of how amazing they are. I would not recommend them for beginners because of how large they get. Now, Dalmatian mollies. I love Dalmatian mollies, but they did not live that long, so D tier. It's probably because they were from Petco. Okay, now let's talk about another fish. The Otocinclus. Now, I have had these guys before. Actually, let's just go back the first time I got them. I was a little kid. I went to the fish store, saw them. I was like, these are probably going to be, effective algae eaters. And he was like, yeah, get them. Yeah, they'll do whatever. Got them. They died in, 6 months. That's the longest I got them to live. These guys, even I grew so much algae on my glass. And it's I didn't have anyone out competing them like plecos. I don't think I had any plecos at that time. I might have had one lazy pleco that didn't do anything. But I got these guys. They were not effective at their jobs. F tier. These guys suck. I don't understand how some people keep them alive. It's like if you had a full-time job and you had to take care of a baby at the same time. That's about how hard it is to keep these guys alive. Now, zebra nerites. Zebra nerites are very different than other nerite snails. So let me talk about that. These guys are 10 times more sensitive than all the other nerite snails, except the military helmet nerite snails. But these guys are more sensitive. So because of that, I'm gonna give them a D because they can be effective if you keep them alive. Congo tetras. You know what? These guys are so beautiful. Just watching them swim around. Their fast-moving behavior. It's amazing to watch. S tier. These guys are goats. Taiga Tiger Nerites. I love these guys. Mine and Mr. Spade clowns. Yeah, Mr. Spade's Tiger Nerite is doing well. Mine, I got this ginormous one. I'm pretty sure he was like around 2 to 3 inches. That is not the normal size of a Nerite snail. He was ginormous. I could show you his shell. He died like a couple years ago, but he lived really well for a Nerite snail. I would definitely throw him in the A tier. Yeah, they're amazing. Just get one. So, Bleeding Heart Tetras. Again, I don't remember that much about them, but I remember they were pretty fun to have. C tier. Mystery Snails. I love Mystery Snails. This is probably going to be my first S tier snail, just because of how cool they are. They basically don't have problems, like, starving. They don't starve. They do really well, actually. They'll thrive, and sometimes maybe breed, but if you have something like a yo-yo loach, if you're rich, a dwarf chain loach to eat the babies, that would be fine. And the thing is, I do want to mention, I probably have had more fish than this, and more fish that are still in my tank, maybe, and I just forgot about them, or my other tanks. So, I'll probably talk about them in another video. But now, we're talking about the Geophagus. Now, I have a red Tapaho Geophagus, and, another kind of Geophagus. This dude pulled it out of the tank. I personally don't know what kind of Geophagus it is, but I know it's not a Venai. If it was a Venai, then I would have problems with it, because then it would grow huge, and probably outgrow my tank. They're a B tier because they're a little bit territorial with other similarly looking cichlids that I've had experience with, and they kind of chase slow-moving tank mates, so B tier. But they are amazing cichlids, and they might uproot your plants, but you can plant them back. Crebensis. I have the same deal with these guys, but they're usually peaceful and active. The thing is, if you do have kind of a lot of fish in your tank, they could chase them. That's kind of what I had with my experience when I kind of accidentally overcrowded my tank. I don't have an overcrowded tank anymore, but A tier, they're amazing. They're just amazing. They're great fish, especially if you're starting off with cichlids. They're kind of beginner cichlids. Sturbicories. Ooh, I love Sturbicories. These guys are an S tier because, they're an S tier, but there's a lot of misinformation about these guys. People will be like, "Well, Sturbicories are cold water." They're not cold water. You can easily keep them inside a tank that's like 80 degrees. They can even be in like discus tanks. I've seen these guys kept with discus. Like, they are not cold water. Like, they're nothing like Google. Like, don't do Google. Google's not smart. Guppies. I love guppies. And it's so cool when you mix the males and the females and you get the babies. And you get to watch the babies, like, grow up. It's an amazing process to watch. Honestly, if you're not ready for all the bio load in your tank from the babies, they're a B tier because of how much bio load the babies can create. But it's amazing watching the babies grow up when they breed. Ooh, platies. These guys are kind of good. They're good. They're good fish. But again, they will breed like crazy. So B tier, but it's cool watching growing up the babies. And they also kind of do have a bioload impact. Assassin snails. These guys, usually, like, when you have something like a snail infestation of, like, Malaysian trumpet snails, whatever snail it is. These guys will eat the snails. Yes, they will. But they also will go after your snails, and if they don't even have enough food, they will go after your fish. They will totally go after your fish. I had I'm pretty sure, like, I think at least a quarter of my tank wiped out by assassin snails. If there was, I would put this thing in Z tier. Like, Z tier. Not F tier, Z tier. Like, these guys are bad snails. Like, no. Okay, ramshorn snails. I love these guys. I have one in my tank. That's the thing. Just one. If you have 2, they're going to breed, and then you're going to have a snail daycare on your hands. C tier, but the reason I'm putting them in C tier, not F tier, is because if you just have 1, they're a really great snail to have. Panda Cories. Again, amazing Cory. Just they're smaller, so not as much compatibility with other tank mates, so they get the A tier. But now Headlight Taillight Tetras. This was the first group of Tetras, like large group of small Tetras. I had them with my Buenos Aires and the red-tailed shark, which was kind of bullying my other fish, but I'll talk about that later. These guys, I remember they lived a decent amount of time, like probably they get a B tier. I don't remember them that much, but they were great. Rummy Nose Tetras. The only reason mine died was from ick. So, because they died from ick, it's like, they're still good fish. They're, I would give them an A tier, because they're pretty hardy, but they do prefer acidic water. Albino Cories. These are another S tier Cory, because they live a long time. They're the most hardy Cory. Recommend them. 100% recommend them. German blue ram. No, just rams in general. I'm not talking about the Bolivian ram. These guys are not that hardy. B tier though, because they are pretty fun to have. But if you're a beginner starting off, I would not recommend these guys. Sure, they have an easy to manage aggression because they're not that aggressive. Well, actually, no, I don't think they're aggressive at all, but they're still kind of cichlid. But they totally leave every single fish in your tank alone. No, like, they're perfect if you are creating a community tank, but you're more familiar with community fish, and you kind of know how to take care of them pretty well. This is a fish for you. Neon Tetras. I do not recommend, if you're more experienced, sure, do them, but they're a D tier because of the diseases. I know, okay, now let's move on to the next one. I know you guys are going to hate me, but I used to keep glowfish. This was when I was like a little 5-year-old, 6-year-old, but I remember they lived a pretty decent amount of time for glowfish. That's not saying I would recommend them because they're glowfish. They're not natural colored. They're injected with things that make them look like that. So D tier. No, actually E tier. They get an E tier because just injected. Like, if you can get them to survive, good for you. Zebra Danios. Now let's talk about Zebra Danios. I love Zebra Danios. I'm just gonna put it out there. They're amazing. Like, they move fast, great active fish, especially if you're keeping them with stuff like crayfish and crabs. But they can outcompete your fish for food, but that usually won't happen if you add in enough and spread out the food to different places. So they're an A tier because and they are probably one of the most hardy aquarium fish. Okay, jewel Cories. Jewel spotted Cories. This is my one. He's 7 years old. He is the front of the S tier, man. He is like the GOAT. Like, he's like such a good fish. He does great in all of my tanks. I had 2 of them. One of them died, but he is like a straggler. He's like so hardy. He's like amazing for tanks. Now, a mono shrimp. These guys are like, if you want a shrimp that is still compatible with and get larger. So these guys are perfect. They're an A tier. They would be an S tier if they were compatible with larger tank mates, as I said. Now, Kui Loaches. The only reason I did not have luck was because the dude at the fish store, when I got these guys, did not know what he was talking about. He watched one YouTube video and took everything, like Aquarium Store Depot. I have to shout out you, Dan. You do give great advice, but Kui Loaches are not cold water. The dude told me that he watched your video and that he got all the information from Kui Loaches, and he was like, he sold me it. And then when I came back, when it died, because they do like groups, he was just like, oh, they're cold water. And I'm like, well, why didn't you tell me that when I bought it? Like, and actually they're not cold water because I asked a dude at another fish store who I have trusted for a while, and he told me that they're not cold water. So I might try them again in the future and get like group. And he purposely sold me one. He didn't try to sell me more on them, and he didn't say they were grouping fish. So yeah, they get a B tier because they're good fish, but there's not enough information that the fish store owners know about them. Like, some people will tell you they're cold water, some people will tell you they're warm water. There's mixed information about these guys. Now red velvet swordtails. These are the only swordtail I've ever kept. They're like amazing. They breed cool. You can actually make a profit out of them because they're like $20 each. So they get a B tier because if you don't want to spend that much expenses on a $25 fish, I have a male and a female. The female's pregnant. You can make a lot of money off of breeding these guys. They're just actually no A tier. They're amazing. They're just amazing. Now the Bala shark. Ooh. So yeah, I honestly, when I was a little kid, I got these guys. I did not know what they were. When I got them, they grew like fast. And like the dude said, no, it will grow the size of your tank. It won't exceed 12 inches. It got like too big for our tank. And I'm pretty sure we had 3 of them. One of them died. We returned the 2 to a fish store. And they were fun to have, but when they do get to that 12-inch size, they will consume some of your small tank mates, so F tier. Cherry barbs. They're S tier. I didn't have time with them because they did die from ick, sadly. But I'm pretty sure they are pretty hardy, but I just didn't have that much time with them. They are pretty hardy from what I've learned from everybody has told me. I'm just gonna, do cherry barbs again probably. If I have enough time with them. I just want more time to be able to own cherry barbs and kind of get to know them. Now, tire track eels. These guys, they do grow to the size of your tank, so they won't outgrow your tank usually like the Bala shark. The most they'll probably get in like a 75 gallon is 12 inches. Sure, if you put them in a pond, they'll probably get 30 inches. But these guys are amazing, especially the way they eat. But if you have a small tank, they're not that good, but B tier because of how amazing they are. They deserve higher on this list, but sadly I can't. Clown plecos. These guys are amazing fish. Don't get me wrong, they're amazing fish. But again, they're sold as algae control. Mine is just a lazy fish who just sits on his bum and just eats algae wafers inside because I have this pirate ship. He just sits in there all day, doesn't come out, doesn't suck on the glass and like clean algae off the glass. He doesn't do his job. He just he's a C tier, but he is a pretty pleco that doesn't get that big. That's kind of a tongue twister. Red-eye tetras. All I remember was these guys did not live that long. Red-eye tetras, I don't really know that much about them. I had them for a little bit of time, but they didn't live that long if I remember. C tier. Clown loaches. Oh, I love these guys. They have such a big personality. But the thing is in the fish store, they don't tell you how big they get. They get like a foot, probably around in length. But they have amazing personalities. They swim up to the glass whenever I go to the front of the glass. They come up to the front of the glass and they say hi to me. They like wave their fins at me. It's just like such amazing to watch a fish interact with you. They're an A tier, but they do outgrow most tanks. They're just so amazing. Okay, so now we're going to talk about the mosquito rasbora, chili rasbora. The thing about these guys, they do not tell you that they are like difficult to feed. They need tiny foods because they have tiny mouths. So they need tiny foods. Like, they need, like, Daphne and, like, crushed up foods. And they don't tell you this, so I would just say they're an E tier. And I also heard they have preferred water parameters. Flame tetras. I love flame tetras. They get a C tier. But flame tetras get pretty good, but not a lot of people know about them. They have them in Petco. I got some from Petco. The thing is, they will literally tear apart each other. Like, they'll bite each other. they'll like they get a D tier actually. No, yeah, D tier. Because you should still get a school, but they can like injure themselves. I got one of mine that bit the other one's eye out from fighting. Like they fight a lot. Now the red-tailed shark is, oh my god, I gotta tell you, red-tailed sharks are amazing. But they're just so aggressive and territorial. They'll like chase all your fish around. They will they'll do circles around your tank just chasing them. They're an E tier. I'm giving them an E tier just because of how cool looking they are. You can have them if you don't have any bottom dwellers. If you just have fast moving top dwellers in your community tank, you could probably keep these guys. Pumpkin shrimp. I love pumpkin shrimp. I have some. They're orange pumpkin shrimp, but they're not that compatible with a lot of tank mates. They need like specific tank mates. C tier, they're amazing for especially for cleanup, but they need specific tank mates. I only have mine with guppies. Mollies. These are just mollies in general. Not Dalmatian mollies. They also didn't live long. D tier. Fire shrimp. I love fire shrimp. These guys get A tier. I love them so much. They're effective algae eaters. They also eat fish waste. Now I saved the best for last, male beta. Yeah, they get an A tier because they are a fun fish to have. No, actually no. D tier because only mine is like the most sweetest beta ever, but they can have territorial aggression. I was only thinking of my beta. My beta gets an S tier, but most betas get a D tier. Okay, guys, that's every fish I have kept over the years. Peace out, guys.